Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Now, you've heard me say many times, these are all great companies. I used them as an AD. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes. Don't hit that fast forward button. Listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're really going to be glad you did. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to thank our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. Our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents love the Huddle platform. Go to huddle.com. Join the millions of users and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. I also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and click on Content Services. Now, their video boards have been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade, but Content Services takes it to a whole new level. Their team of talented writers and creators are going to come up with compelling stories that you can then post on your social media to share your history, your coaches, your kids. You really got to see it to believe it. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. And don't forget to mention you heard about it on the podcast. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Your athletic department is doing great things, and Gipper is going to help you share that with your world. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. See why they're number one for athletic marketing. Gipper has thousands of professionally designed templates that you can customize in your colors, your logos, your brand, and that's going to allow you to create, share, and schedule all your social media through one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to gipper.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Things like scheduling, rosters, results, facility management. Did I mention athletic eligibility and clearance? Home Campus does all of these things and more, does it better, does it faster than the other platforms. Go to homecampus.com for more information. Let's also say thanks to Booster Hub, the #1 booster club software platform. If you work with your boosters right now, you know that volunteer scheduling, volunteer changes is part of the game. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same is true with sponsorship payments or concession sales. Everything flows through their secure platform. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. Go to boosterhub.com to get started. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's degree from Ohio, but guess what? My assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience that also allowed them to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to thank our friends at Hometown. Hometown continues to be a leader in education-based athletics with their suite of solutions that include things like, digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising through School Funder, athletic website construction. The Hometown list goes on and on. Whether you're a principal, an athletic director, even a head coach, Hometown is going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. You're going to find it all at hometown.com. Check them out today. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Athletic Surveys. Now, at my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, even for parents. And here's the cool thing, the information that came back, almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. The surveys also allowed us to connect with our squeaky wheel parents and let us hear their concerns, usually address them before they turned into something big. But getting back to that positive data, incredibly valuable. Check out athleticsurveys.com. That's athleticsurveys.com. And as with all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're staying right here in Florida today, and we're going to be visiting with Sara Bogue. Sara has a tremendous background as a coach, as an award-winning coach, as an athletic director, and she recently took on a new challenge. She is the director of athletics for Hillsborough County Public Schools. She's in charge of a number of middle school and high school athletic programs. She's also active at the state level. She's a district director for the FIAAA and a whole bunch of other things we're going to hear about. Sara Bogue, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you and I were talking before we started recording. We've had this on the books for a while, but very excited to have you on. We actually connected at the FIAAA conference, I guess now 2 years ago. Saw your presentation and just wanted to introduce myself, and you were kind enough to agree to come on the show. Let's go and jump right in. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. As I like to say, tell us your life story in 2 minutes. Just take us up through your college days for this segment. We'll hear about your career journey later, but what's the Sara Bogue origin story?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Pennsylvania. My parents were going to Penn State. There just a short time. I really grew up in Michigan. We moved to Michigan when I was about 2. So I'm a Midwest girl, small town, one high school in the town. And that's kind of where I started. Grew up. My dad was a professor of a local college. And so I just started playing sports young. That's what you did there, and just never really stopped. So started there, graduated high school there in Michigan, and then went to Anderson University in Indiana, where I played basketball. And kind of did my thing there. And that's kind of the rundown. But yeah, I spent a lot of my time in the Midwest growing up and playing sports there.
I just love to hear the stories and the journeys that each of us take. You mentioned small town, so even before your high school days, what are some of those early memories? I imagine there was a basketball hoop in the driveway. Were there backyard soccer games or football games? What are some of those memories?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like a lot of people ask, like, how did you get into sports? And literally, I learned in my driveway. I had an older brother who played in the neighborhood, small town. So that's what we did. We went outside. We played basketball in the neighborhood. We would, play catch in the backyard. We played softball, baseball. So that is really what I remember. Just running around outside, playing a lot of sports, just having fun, before cell phones, before social media, before all the things. So that's what you did. You played sports, and I literally learned to play basketball in my driveway. So
again, I love that. Now, as you were getting older, were there travel teams involved? Youth soccer, AAU basketball, any of those?
Yeah, so definitely, again, this is before that was big. It was definitely a thing. But when I was in elementary school, I played, we did basketball, I played softball, I did a little middle school track and field, volleyball, even did a little bit of cheer, if you can imagine that. So you were able to do a lot of the things. You weren't focused on one thing. But I started basketball in 3rd grade, and then I was doing summer camps and things like that. I probably started my first AAU team, I want to say probably in 7th grade is when I started travel ball. But we were still able to, I still was able to play 2-3 sports in high school, and then we did the travel in the summer. So it was a little bit different then, but yeah, definitely spent a lot of time playing on the travel leagues for sure.
Yeah, I think, and again, I'm so much older than you. I'm that old guy sitting on the front porch.
Oh,
That's what I remember. That the school year, you played school sports, and then the summer, that's when summer camps and things like that going on. Oh, I wish we still had those days. Um,
I do too. I do too, Jake. I miss those days. They were
yeah.
they were great days and great for the great for a kid growing up to do what you loved, but also have some opportunities to do other things that you loved, right? Like I loved all sports. I wanted to do it all. So yeah, I miss that too.
Looking back at your own high school career, I'm a big moments guy. Can you think of a moment from high school, game practice, bus ride, that really resonates with you now, years later?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Um, in high school, and that also was a long time ago for me. And this might be kind of not what you're thinking, but I didn't have the best like high school team. We weren't really great, so it's not like we had a big district, regional, or something championship. But what I remember is I had my varsity coach. He came my sophomore year, and I remember him calling me up. They can't do that now, but he called me up and he said, Sarah, because he was a boys coach at a nearby high school. Said, Sarah, are you planning to stay at Alma? Alma High School, and I was like, yeah, I'm planning to stay there. I was just finished my freshman year. He's like, well, I think I want to come over there and coach you. And I was like, okay, so he came over and he had all kinds of experience and he was a great coach, but he just built really was the relationship. So one, he calls me, two, he just built these relationships. And we used to go over to his house for, pregame meals, and he had two older sons and they would come to practice and help us. And so it's not necessarily like a defining moment in high school of sports, but just that relationship that he built in that community and that family really is what sticks out from him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, just we always talk about the importance for coaches of calling the kids by their name. Just being
Yeah.
called by your name. Hey, coach knows
Yeah.
my name, but to get that phone call, boy,
Yeah.
that is very cool. Now you mentioned you went to Anderson for your college ball. So these are my words. Were you the hot shot freshman coming in, or were you scratching and clawing trying to make the travel team? What are your memories of that time?
So it's actually not what people think. I actually didn't play my first year of college. I had finished up high school and I was like, oh, I want to take a break and, all those things. I very quickly regretted that, like very quickly when I got there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed it. I want to play. So, of course, that season had already started. I started working out with them the summer after freshman year. And I had like a year off. I wasn't doing a whole lot of basketball, right? I was doing other things. And so I kind of had to work my way back into it. So I was basically the sixth man coming off my sophomore year, and then was starting after that. But yeah, so it was a little bit different route, but all the same, very enjoyable and a lot of fun.
Now, at this time, were you thinking, hey, I'm going to be a coach, I'm going to be a teacher? Was that in the works, or did that happen, later on?
Yeah, so at that time, I went into school kind of thinking athletic training. I was like, I want to definitely stay in the athletic world. So I did about a semester of that, and I was like, maybe not. This maybe not be the route. So I kind of went into PE teaching education from there. And so teaching was definitely part of it. My dad was, a college professor. My mom was a social worker in the school. So that was always kind of a little there. I wanted to stay connected in a school in sports. Just what capacity did that look like?
Yeah. I love it when I hear people say, yeah, I was a PE major, because you just don't hear that anymore with
Yeah,
sport management and,
yeah,
athletic administration. But good for you.
yeah.
Good for you on that
Old
PE.
school PE and health major education.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, I got my first teaching job out of college because I had that health minor. I took those
yep.
two health courses. All right. Okay. There we go. I can see why
Yeah,
this is going to be a good
we're
interview.
connecting.
Yeah. Let's go and take our first break. Once again, for our listeners, our guest today is Sara Bogue. She is the County Athletic Director for Hillsborough County Public Schools. That's right here in Florida. We're taking a break, but we're coming back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say many times, probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile and their customer service just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, I'm telling you, all of our coaches just love the Huddle platform. Our student athletes love the videos. Our parents love the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the millions of users, and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. And as always, make sure you mention you heard about it on the Educational AD podcast.
Yeah, I saw you had Huddle there as a sponsor. They're great. We use them in a lot of Hillsborough County schools, so coaches love them for sure.
Now, thanks so much for saying that. Do the schools use it beyond the video and the analytics? Do you guys do streaming or other parts of the Huddle platform?
Right now, I think it's mostly just the analytics and the recording. At least the ones that I'm familiar with. I'm still learning this whole process, but what I've had experience with. Mm-hmm.
Learning that reach of the county office.
Yes, okay. Correct. It's a large county.
Well, thanks again for sharing that. Once again, for listeners, Sara Bogue is our guest today. She's the Director of Athletics for Hillsborough County Public Schools. I guess geographically, you just think Tampa area, okay? Sara, you took us up through your journey so far into your college days. I think it's important for our listeners, particularly some people that might be new to athletic administration, to hear about that career journey, that you don't just graduate and sit down at that dream job as an AD. Sometimes there's a few stops along the way. You had some tremendous success as a coach and as a leader. Can you share your journey with our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So once I finished college, I was going to school in Indiana, and I had some family down here in Florida, an aunt and uncle, some cousins who actually knew an AD at a pretty new school. I think they'd only been open about 3 years. So, you're young, you're 23. They said, hey, this girls basketball coach, PE job's open. Come down and apply. Who doesn't want to go to Florida, right? So I came down, I applied. And that was 20 years ago. I got the job and started. So my first stop was at Newsom High School. I was a girls basketball coach and PE teacher. So I got pretty fortunate, coming out of college to land that job.
Now, we say frequently, sometimes describing coaches, you don't know what you don't know. Did you find out some things that you didn't know about coaching?
100%. I actually wanted to call every coach I ever had and say, I'm sorry for, how I acted and the things I said, behind your back. Like, I'm sorry. Now I understand. But yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know the ins and outs, and, you're more mature, although I'm much more mature now than I was starting at 23. When I finished coaching, it was much different than when I started coaching. Just the dynamics and why you put certain people on the court, and of course the parent dynamic and all those other things. You just don't know. It is a very difficult job. I have so much respect for coaches because it's not easy, and it's not getting any easier.
Looking back again, it's my job on these interviews to say the things that our guests are reluctant to say. You had a tremendous, a winning season, Coach of the Year honors. As you look back at that, were there, and we're going to get to your toolbox later, but were there some, let's say, crucial steps or moments or things that you did during that season that, helped those team awards and, of course, your own awards as Coach of the Year make those things possible?
Yeah, so I think, coming in a lot of times, whether you're a new coach or a new AD, you have expectations. I assumed that everyone else would just know those expectations, rise to those expectations, do all the things. Or I thought, our level was here and maybe we weren't quite there. So I had to really, what exactly is my outcome? How are we going to get there? Right. Like I just had really high expectations and I didn't necessarily have a plan to get them there. And so I think for me, I had to start where we were and build on that and communicate those expectations and provide them support to get to where they needed to be. Again, I look back at that first team, we won 3 games my first year there. Now, mind you, that was the most they'd ever won, in the 3 or 4 years they had been open. So we were pretty excited, but, obviously that wasn't the expectation. That wasn't what we were ultimately working for. But I think you have to meet people where they are and then put in support to build where you want to be and communicate that because, it's not easy. It's not, you're not always walking into the situation you think you're walking into or that it'll change overnight.
Right. And again, that's a tremendously important observation. We won 3 games, but you're celebrating like you just won the NBA championship because we've never done that. In my career, I took over a couple of startup programs, and my last job as a head coach, the team had not won, and I knew what I was getting into. They had not won a game in 5 years, and we won our last game of the season, and absolutely, it was a Super Bowl moment, and kids were crying and hugging, and it was great to be a part of that, to see the growth that the team had along the way. So. Very cool stuff.
I agree 100%. By the time I left, I coached for 7 years. We were in the regional playoffs, back to back. So like I said, we're having some success, but we didn't start there. And that's okay. That's okay that you didn't start out there right away. So
now, you had success. You climbed that coaching ladder, whether it was, part of your goal all the way. But at some point, you made the decision to, as I like to say, go to the other side of the desk and become an athletic director. How did that all happen?
Yeah, so I met my husband at Newsome at the school. So we had gotten married. I decided to go back to school. We were expecting our first child. So I had stepped away from coaching because coaching is all consuming. It's a lot of time, and we were young, starting a family. I had a really great mentor at Newsome, the AD there. From the moment he hired me, just really gave me a lot of opportunities to kind of see what he did in that role. And I just really enjoyed it. So, I thought at that time, once I had stepped away from coaching, was the right time to really start to look at what was the next step for me. And I kind of knew, that I wanted to do that. I love teaching. I love coaching, but I kind of had been thinking for a couple of years, I think I want to take the next step. But again, my mentor at Newsome was amazing.
Now, as you're sitting in that office, or maybe it was on the phone, I don't know, for that interview, anybody who becomes an AD, there's that first time. They've never been an AD before. They've done other things. What were some of the things that you remember? The expression I use is you were selling yourself. You're telling them, hey, I'm the person you should hire. How did you do that when you hadn't been an AD before?
Right. Well, it's funny, like you mentioned before, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you look back at the interview and I'm like, I really said that? What was I thinking? Like, I thought I was really, saying something great, but not really. I think the big thing is I had the opportunity to work with them for a year in another role as an assistant principal. So they kind of knew me. They kind of knew my way of work. So I think that helped me because it's a little different here. Like I went from teaching, we're assistant principals and ADs in our county. So it's a little bit different. So I had been an assistant principal before I jumped to assistant principal and AD. But honestly, I think the big thing that probably, so it was just like my relationship building. I build relationships with people. I care about people, and they had seen that in the year and also being pretty organized. So, they had kind of seen that in another role. So I think that helped to them to see that I would be successful in the AD role.
Oh, again, another great point that you are actually interviewing for that next job at your current job and the job that you do, how well you do it. And you mentioned relationships, so important. Let's go and take another break. We're visiting today with Sara Bogue. She's the Director of Athletics for Hillsborough County Public Schools here in Florida. We're going to hear all about Hillsborough Public Schools in our next segment, but let's take that break and hear from our sponsors. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards, but their new content creation service takes it to a whole new level. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and click on Content Services. Their talented team of writers and creators are going to come up with some compelling stories from your school's history using your coaches, your kids, your program that you can then post on your school's social media platform, maybe on a Wall of Fame video board. It's really something you got to see to believe. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their video boards, but also click on Content Services for more information. We also want to thank our friends at Gipper. Your athletic department is doing great stuff, and Gipper allows you to share it with your world using their thousands of professionally designed templates. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. See why it's number one for athletics marketing. Those templates that I just mentioned, you can also customize them with your colors, your logos, your brand, and Gipper allows you to create, share, and schedule all your social media content on one simple platform. Go to Gipper.com for more information. And we want to say thanks to Home Campus. Now, Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, rosters, results, facility management. Did I mention athletic eligibility and clearance? That one alone is a game changer. Home Campus does all these things and more, and it does it better and it does it faster than the other platforms. Go to homecampus.com to get started, and don't forget to mention you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast.
All right, Jake, I have to give a little shout out to Home Campus because they have been amazing in my new role. They have helped me so much get our middle schools on there and get our high school, and we got our coaches clearance on there. So I love Home Campus. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind me giving them a shout out too.
Having been a Florida AD for many years, I know all about Home Campus, and thanks for sharing that. I remember when I moved from my school in South Florida to the McClay School in Tallahassee. It was just so quick and painless getting into the system, getting set up, and the very, very few times over the time I was at McClay that I had to call them up. Again, I'm not waiting 3 days. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes. Somebody's getting back to me. That's if they didn't pick up right away. And of course, it was almost always something that I was doing wrong. It wasn't the platform, but
no, they are great. I agree. They are great.
Thank you. Thanks again for sharing that. All right. One more time for listeners. Our guest today is Sara Bogue, longtime coach, longtime athletic director. She was a building AD here in Florida, and now she is the county athletic director for Hillsborough County Public Schools right here in the great state of Florida. Sara, what was it about the county job that attracted you? And, you've been on the job since February. What are some things, maybe we can ask that same question, that you found out you didn't know?
Yeah. It's funny. It's a different side of things, right? Like I was so comfortable. I love the school I was at. I wasn't looking to leave. I said, you're going to have to roll me out of this chair at Bloomingdale. I loved it there. So I think the biggest thing for me in this new role as the county, I'm looking at 29 high schools and 53 middle schools. Like I have to take what I did for my one school, and I worked really hard, and I wanted them to be successful. I want to bring that same energy to 29 high schools and 53 middle schools. But that's a lot, Jake. Like that's a lot of diversity. That's a lot of different dynamics and things to consider. So I think just like getting out there, seeing the facilities, meeting the people. I mean, I know all the high school ADs, but getting into those middle schools and navigating the district, it's a lot. It's a lot different, and there's still a lot I know that I don't know.
But I'm trying to imagine the scope, and obviously going from one school to multiple schools, but that many schools. I mean, just even if it was just the high schools, and you didn't have those 50 plus middle schools,
Right.
you know, coaches can be. Again, humans can be, selfish. They get their blinders on, and it's me, my program. What are some things that you have done in your few months there
Yeah.
in charge to kind of help mitigate that reality of,
hmm
well, the district office doesn't care about us, or they only care about that school that, just won
Right.
the state football championship.
Mhm.
What are some things that you do that can help mitigate those types of feelings?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I do have an assistant, so she's helped me with the middle school. So I don't want to give myself too much credit here. She's definitely managing some of that with me. But the biggest thing is, and I mentioned this before, and I'm sure I'll mention it again before we're done, is the relationship piece. Like my door is open, right? Like I've already been meeting with coaches. I've met with principals. I obviously meet with the ADs at every school site. So I think they just need to know, like, and I've said, I'm not going to change everything. You're not going to get everything you want, but I will always listen. I will always see how does that fit in the big picture. And then I'm going to give you the why. You know what I mean? So I've already started having those conversations because at the end of the day, I care about kids. I care about coaches. I care about school communities. And that doesn't mean I can say yes to everything, but I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to hear you out and then see how it fits best into the big picture of the whole district. So that's what I try to do, is just to start those conversations. And the summer's a good time to do that. I was lucky to come in at this time and have a little bit of time to have those conversations as we prepare for next year.
Yeah, you're so right. Building those relationships, and again, it's not like you were an outsider coming in. You were there in the district. That had to help a little bit. Um, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm curious. Was there or has there been, a challenge that you've had to deal with, an unexpected? And again, I don't want you to name schools or people or things like that, but was there something? I guess maybe a challenge that turned into a victory that you can share with our listeners.
Oh, that you are putting me on the spot, just so you know. um, Gosh, yeah, that is a great question. I don't know if there's one coming up. I think maybe um, when I'm having these conversations, maybe there's a perception coming in that maybe they won't be heard, or maybe there is no chance for, like, some. I don't even know how to put it, but I do think, like, that they are seeing that, yes, we are going to listen, and we've rolled out a couple of things. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we've rolled out a few things that, or we're going to be rolling out, that I think will have some small wins there that says, hey, we're on your side, like we're here to work with you. There's a lot of policy change, as you know, in Florida and the FHSAA, so that's challenging navigating at the district level, because we have to put in policy. And also, like, how is that going to best help the students, and how we're going to roll that out. So just things that I haven't experienced before, but I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, you did a great job of answering that question, and I'm sorry I put you on the spot. You mentioned policy, and for our listeners who are not from Florida, I've always jokingly, but it's true, said that Florida high school has had the transfer portal for many years because of our state statutes. But this just a few weeks ago, our governor signed a new bill into law, and correct me if I'm wrong. The new law, it's kind of a return to normal. Whatever high school that a student starts at in Florida, it's August. That's your high school for the year, unless there's like a change of residence, all those traditional things. So no more school hopping in Florida. What sort of impact do you think that's going to have on kids, coaches, athletic directors? What are your thoughts on that new rule?
Yeah, so you said it exactly right. I mean, the school that they start their first sport at is the school that they have to stay at for the whole year, barring other, circumstances, specific circumstances. I think it's going to be a positive. I think it's going to be a positive impact for the coaches, for the players, for the teams. And at the end of the day, I think, for the school community, like we talked about old school, like that loyalty, that connection to your school and your team and, your community. And I hope that brings a little bit of that back. I know that coaches and ADs, I think are pretty happy about it. So it'll be interesting to see how this year goes, but I think overall it's been a positive feeling towards that for sure.
No, yeah, I love how you use the word loyalty. It used to be, kids couldn't wait to put on that high school uniform. Boy, I can't wait till I'm in high school. And now it seems like the pendulum had swung to, well, how many touches am I going to get? How many reps am I going to get? And it was more about, as they say, it should be about the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back of the jersey. Sara, we're going to do this at the end of the show, but let's do it now. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more about coaching, leadership, being an AD, or if they just wanted to add you to their network, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, well, they can, reach out to me. We have Twitter of HCPS Athletics One, would probably where we post the most of our stuff. I mean, but individually, if they want to, get in contact with me, they can just shoot me an email, Sara.Bogue@hcps.net.
Okay. And we'll give out that information again at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Let's go and take another quick break. I know that's shocking to our regular listeners, but when we do come back, we're going to have more with our guest, Sara Bogue, the County Athletic Director for Hillsborough Public Schools right here in Florida. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Booster Hub, the #1 booster club software application. If you work with your booster club, you know that volunteer signups and volunteer changes are part of the game. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays engaged. The same is true for sponsorship fees or concession sales. Everything flows through the Booster Hub secure platform, so everyone's involved. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. Go to boosterhub.com to get started. I also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through the Ohio program, but guess what? My assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others. And while they were earning their degrees, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. And we want to thank Hometown. Hometown continues to be a leader in education-based athletics with their solutions that include things like, digital ticketing, of course. They're still the #1 digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. But how about fee-free fundraising through School Funder, athletic website construction? The Hometown list goes on and on. Whether you're a principal, an athletic director, even a head coach, Hometown is going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. That's hometown.com. And guess what? Tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Sara, we were talking during the break, and I previously mentioned, you're involved with our state association. You're a district director. I think it's District 10 over there in Hillsborough County. Boy, how about that? I still remember from my days as president. And, you present workshops, again, as a member of the board. Those things don't happen by accident. Those were intentional steps on your part. Can you talk a little bit about how you got involved with FIAAA and maybe, other things that it's led to.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I've been on the district board, I think for 3 years now, going into my third year. And so I can't stress, it's so important to have like a mentor. And I know you know Lannis Robinson, but he really is the one who kind of voluntold, encouraged me, voluntold me and said, hey, I think you need to consider presenting at FIAAA conference. And I was hesitant, like, oh, no, I've only been an athletic director for 2 years. What do I know? And he's like, you have something that you can, that would be worthwhile. And so I did that. And then that led to, being on the board of directors. And, it was out of my comfort zone. And so I kind of, to present in front of the state, it's the state of Florida, right? And I'm like, what do I have to offer them? And I think that's actually where you and I met, was at that first presentation. And so it again, just challenged me to step outside my comfort zone as I kind of look back at my leadership journey. There's a lot of stepping outside of your comfort zone, and it's important. It's hard, but it's important to do. If you want to do some things that you never thought you'd be doing, right? Like this wasn't on my list. I love it. I'm happy to be here, but this wasn't on my list of jobs that I was reaching for, originally.
Excuse me. As you have stretched your wings or flexed your AD muscles, through the FIAAA, what's the message that you can bring back to your county athletic directors or the ADs in your county about the importance of getting involved? What are some of the benefits that you see for them?
Oh my gosh, the connection, like. The very first thing, like when I got this job, the amount of people that I knew across the state of Florida from being involved in FIAAA, I've been calling them, hey, what do you do for this? Hey, what do you think about this? I sent out surveys. Like just that professional connection is you can't beat it, because you can't find that. That's different when you're emailing or calling, is different than when you just have that, you've already developed that relationship. So all of our county ADs go to FIAAA every year, and I presented for 2 years, and then we actually had 2 more ADs present this year. So we're trying to encourage them to get involved. We have a lot to offer. Our ADs here in Hillsborough County are amazing. And so I want them to share their knowledge with the rest of the state, and then they can make those connections, and who knows where they want to end up, but then they will have that opportunity. And I can't even say enough about just having already those relationships built when I took this job. It has been just, I can't even say how impactful it's been for me in this role.
Oh, wow. It's so good to hear. Now, from an NIAAA perspective, have you had a chance to start taking, leadership training courses? Where are you at in that part of your journey?
So I actually just went to my first national conference this past year. It was in Tampa. So we kind of worked it a little bit. I kind of did an introduction thing. Now I'm kind of looking at maybe trying to get on one of the committees. So I just kind of started that national journey for myself. But again, I look forward to getting more involved, because now we're not just talking the state of Florida, we're talking nationally. And I just, the people that I've met already and heard present. So I'm just kind of starting that. That's just on the horizon here, but I'm excited to get going with that.
Oh no, absolutely. Take those introductory courses,
Yes.
Get that CAA out of the way, and then,
Sorry,
people
I didn't answer that question. I have taken some courses. I think I'm like one away from taking my CAA test. I didn't answer you there.
Oh, no, that's okay. But again, as soon as you get that CAA, somebody like me or Lannis is going to be saying, hey, what are you going to do for your CMAA project? So the learning never stops. Okay.
Never stops. And that's what's great about it. It never stops.
Well, Sara, this has been so cool to spend a little bit of extra time with you and find out a little bit more about your journey. But we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the Athletic Director Toolbox. Now, you certainly know your way around the world of athletics. We're going to take our final break, hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. but I'm only going to let you put 3 tools in their toolbox. So let's take that break. When we come back, we're going to see what Sara Bogue puts in her new AD toolbox. We want to say thank you to Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. You know, at my school, we use surveys for just about everything, for our student athletes, for our coaches, even for our parents. And here's the cool thing. The information that came back, almost always over the top positive. We still got to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, usually address them before they turned into something big. But going back to that positive data, tremendously valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, sometimes your principal, sometimes even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that truly lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And as with all of our sponsors, please make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Sara Bogue, longtime coach, longtime leader, and the director of athletics at Hillsborough County Public Schools. Almost 30 high schools, over 50 middle schools. But right now, I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new athletic director on their first job, but I'm only going to let her put 3 tools in the toolbox. So, Sara, what 3 tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
All right. Well, I actually did a presentation on this, so hopefully I can get it right. No, I said this before. I've mentioned this a couple times in this interview, and I know people on your podcast have said it before, but building relationships, it is so invaluable. Your coaches, your athletes, your admin, your families, your stakeholders, the community. If they know you're going to run through a brick wall for them, they'll do the same for you. And it's not about building relationships to get something, but it's about building relationships and respect to work towards a common goal. So I just can't say enough about that. I also believe, and this is hard for a first year AD, it was hard for me, but once I kind of figured it out, it helped me to be much more successful. You have to have procedures and policies for everything. If you don't, and I just spoke to my county ADs about this, I challenged them at the end of the year, like, what is one thing that you're struggling with? And think, what is the process that you have for that? And if you don't have a process, that's probably why you're struggling. So, you have to plan for everything, and then things still won't go the way you plan, but have a plan for when it doesn't go that way. So otherwise it's chaos. We're constantly putting out fires. We're constantly at, one thing, or first one's in, last one's out. But if you have, how you want things to run, it will take away some of that anxiousness and that constant feeling like you're just putting out fires. So processes, procedures. And I think alongside that, kind of the third tool, but with those other things, is building capacity in those around you, because you can't do it all. As an AD, you want to do it all. A lot of the weight's on your shoulders, but you just can't do it all yourself. So when you've built in procedures, you've built relationships, now you start building capacity in others to the expectation that you want. And then, you can start kind of working as a team, because, we're ADs, we don't want to work individually. We want to work as a team, and we need to build that capacity as a team. And so it's hard to do, it's hard to do, but I think that it's important. I have a lot more tools, but I'm just going to stop there.
All right. Now, and again, those are just great tools. You mentioned several times during the interview, the value and the impact of building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I think the return on investment of that tool alone is you just can't measure it. And the policies and procedures, it's not, sexy, but it is so very foundationally valuable to your success as a leader, to the success of the program, the team, etc. You just got to have it. So thank you for mentioning that tool. And I don't think I've ever had anyone use the phrase building capacity in others. And again, building up your staff because it's good for them, but also, again, return on investment. It's good for you. You're not having to do everything yourself. Great tools. Thanks for sharing. One more time, if our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain, find out how you do things in your program, how you build capacity in others, or they just want to add you to their network, what's the best way that our listeners can connect with Sara Bogue?
Sure. So shoot me an email, sarah.bogue@hcps.net, or follow us on Twitter, HCPS Athletics 1.
Okay. Well, Sara, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us. All the best. Hope you have a great summer. And we're going to have to get you back on the podcast for an update, check in after 1 year on the job.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. I'm so glad we got to connect and finally after 2 years. So thank you so much. I enjoyed speaking with you.
Oh, well, you're very kind. Thank you. We also want to say thanks to our listeners and remind them that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories along with some best practices in the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.